For letter K, we're doing more of a true slab serif. I know last week I said slab serif, but it was kind of depending on how you drew it. Could have been a little more on the hairline side versus a true slab serif. And we are doing a bracketed one this week. And then instead of keeping the same style for the leg of our letter K, we're gonna replace it with something swashy to make it a little more playful. So I am gonna use my dark teal color this week. I've got my monoline brush and my grid turned on. So on a new layer, I am going to, as usual, go down about 5 blocks worth and draw a straight line. I'm gonna draw that a little better. My pencil is not cooperating today. I think I need to clean it. All right, down 5, and again, down 5. And then for my slab serif, you're just gonna start with a line like that, just like when we're doing a hairline at the top and bottom. Whoops. And now we're just going to bring it down and kind of arc it over like that. So down and then arc it over. Oop, that one doesn't look quite the same. So again, I'm doing these by hand so that it looks a little, I've got a dog hair on my screen, imperfect. But if you wanted to, remember with letter I, how we duplicated our serif, you could do that if you prefer. If you want a little more uniform look, I'm just gonna draw it all from scratch and then I can adjust it at the end. So that is the basis of our letter K. And you can see this one definitely looks a little off compared to the other one. I don't need them to be perfect, but I don't want them to look too unintentionally drawn either. All right, so I might bring that one down just a little bit more. All right. And letter K is one of those letters I always feel looks a little funky when I draw it, but it was really my least favorite letter for years and years. So I've practiced drawing it more and eventually got to a place where it's still not my favorite letter, but I don't hate it as much as I used to. So I'm just gonna draw a diagonal line there and then one right below it. And I'm gonna make this one visually, I'm just gonna eyeball it, make it about half the width of that part of my letter K. And then I'll draw my straight line, come down again, and then just connect it over. Like that. And then again, color it in so I can kind of get a better idea of how it looks. Erase out my stray mark here. And then that makes me think I need to do a little adjusting here and maybe make this a little shorter so it looks better optically. Whoop. I'm gonna erase a lot of that out and go back and draw it in. So I'll kind of come in with my straight line up to my serif there. And that looks a little better to me. Just because this one's a little thinner and more delicate, it won't be exactly the same as your first one. So you can play with that until you get to a place where you are happy with it. And again, this one is a little lower than this one, but since our overall look is to be playful, I'm gonna go with that. I don't care that it's not perfect like I might for certain projects. For the leg of our letter K, we're gonna come down below here. So all I really do is start at this point at the bottom of the top and draw something kind of like that. I might take a few times to draw it. Maybe something like that, and then I'll color it in. Actually, that's not so bad. Maybe I want to thicken it up just a little here. And you could even like curve it around more if you want to play with that. You can leave it like I have it here. Sometimes it depends on what ends up going next to it. So if this K was just by itself, it might be kind of fun to bring the K up like that. But if you knew you were going to have, let's say, like a letter A here, then you would need to kind of mimic that shape and leave room for your letter A. So that sometimes is determined by, it's kind of like fitting a puzzle together, like what's gonna go around it, how do you need to draw your letter to make everything fit together. But since we're just doing a single letter K, you could do what you wanted with that, especially since in our overall drawing, it's at the end of a line. You could play with doing something even more fun with your leg. Sometimes, even though I know the like terms for things, when I'm doing this in my head, like this is the stem, the arm, the leg, I'll trip on my thoughts as I'm filming and I like blank. You might notice it in the video sometimes, like what is that part of the letter called? There's actually way more anatomy and terminology to typography than you would ever dream. Letters have parts that you just had no idea when you're drawing them. So if you have time, Google the anatomy of letters and you can really study up on some of the terms. So we're gonna tap copy, come back to our template and paste it in. And now we've got, and maybe I'll angle this one a bit. Again, we'll play with that more at the end because we're gonna add details on our letters and around our letters when we get to the very end of this series. We've got 2 full lines done, and next time we will move on to letter L.